Hello, my name is CJ Pastioni, and I chose the boom and the bust of the American wine industry for my final microeconomic economics project. So let's get started. So I just want to give so brief overview. So the boom in America, the U.S. experienced a huge increase in population after World War II, known as the baby boom. It affects the wine market in a 21-year lag because the legal drinking age is 21 in the U.S. California, with its great wine growing climate, was among the fastest growing states. This introduced many Americans to wine, and it also opened to enjoying wine. The children of the population growth, known as baby boomers, became the richest generation in history. This gave them a lot of disposable income to spend on wine. In fact, boomers almost have 60 trillion USD in wealth. And unfortunately, other generations have not acquired as much wealth as the baby boomers. So price elasticity of demand for wine has become more relevant. So this is some like graphs and charts to show how much kind of growth there was and just to show like how much money that population really did make. So now here's an introduction overview of the wine industry. So California's wine industry is facing strong headwinds. Sales have declined, especially among 45-year-old consumers, and and the Gen Z decline in demand for wine is especially concerning. So, changing customer preferences. So after reading my four articles, some of the things I'm going to point out is like decline in the sales. Like over the past 3 years, wine sales have declined close to 10%, which is huge in an industry that has like 40 years of growth. The articles kind of especially pointed out that like younger consumers report in surveys that they have much more choice in alcoholic beverages and can't afford high-priced wines. Like these choices include canned cocktails, hard seltzers, and mass market wines like Josh or Barefoot that can be purchased in department stores, and younger customers are choosing to abstain from drinking because they are concerned about their health. The wine market is closer to perfect competition than monopolistic competition, so consumers are price sensitive, elastic demand, and vineyards cannot stop other entrants into the market. Declining demand necessarily leads to lower prices and lower quantities. I just want to like talk a little bit more about that. Like a lot of kids my generation, so Gen Z, who honestly go out on a Friday and Saturday night, I'm sure we can all attest to this, that you're not going out and buying wine when you go out. You're buying like seltzers, like I mentioned. Canned cocktails are really coming on. And honestly, I think wine is not even on the list of what you're gonna buy when you go out to like a party or even to a bar or even any sort of like social setting. And like I work in a restaurant and I've noticed that every customer who buys a high priced bottle of wine is always over the age of 60. And it's just every time during a like shift meetings, they're always trying to push wine on this new generation to try to sell it because it's stockpiles up. You get all this wine and you can't move it. It's a big problem. As mentioned in the impacts of COVID-19, many consumers bought way too much wine at the start of the pandemic in a phenomenon called pantry loading. Thus, they are still drinking what they bought back in COVID, and that was 4 years ago, coming up on 5 years. And this has caused a huge decrease, a huge decreasing need for more purchases, which has caused yet another demand issue for wineries. So basically, the wine industry is facing a tough uphill battle with this younger generation, and just overall, um, trying to stay afloat and a really like big alcoholic market. So here's some graphs to show like the typical drink market. So this is the perfect competition, and then this is luxury good market, which is inelastic demand. So it kind of shows that like your demand, like your price will still go up, but your demand, like as much as demand goes up, like the demand's not like really moving that much. But yeah. So then, oh, this is the Gen Z causing a move from P1 to Q1 to P2 to Q2. So you see P1, the price is like it's higher than what P2 is. So you can obviously see the huge decline over the years, especially with our generation. So that's a pretty big, so obviously when you don't have enough stuff, you're not going to make that much money, and that's shown in the graph. So, price elasticity in the wine market. Generally, wine was thought as a luxury good. This means that the price was not an important factor in purchases. In economic terms, demand was inelastic. In fact, the higher the price often encouraged older consumers to purchase the wine, and this is still true today among baby boomers who have a lot of disposable income and like to show off those sophisticated tastes. And it's kind of a challenge is younger consumers do not share these values. They are really price conscientious. Demand is elastic and are not interested in impressing people, or they don't, or they want to impress in other ways, like fancy vacations. They behave more like rational consumers in economic sense. Yeah, like a lot of like you can tell the huge difference between the baby boomer population, yeah, and the younger consumers. They just honestly don't. They don't see wine as a luxury. They don't see wine as anything, honestly. A lot of younger consumers don't even look at wine. Don't even like. I personally think when someone buys a high valued bottle of wine, that means they have a lot of money. I mean, kind of does show off fancy items, in my opinion, means they're rich, I guess. But obviously, the younger generation doesn't see it that way. They honestly don't care. And that's a problem, especially for the wine industry. So, some strategies for reaching Gen Z. Wine options for the younger crowd. Wine market needs to compete more on price and health. It cannot rely on an old marketing strategies and cultural values. Like you want to try to just honestly, you just really want to make it health conscientious, and I think I'm going to mention this later. A lot of people want a healthier drink. They don't want all that sugar, and nowadays this Gen Z is really becoming more health conscientious because of what is happening to the baby boomer generation. Like a lot of people are developing cancer. A lot of people are getting sick when they get older, and I personally see that, and I'm sure a lot of other of my peers see this and say how is this happening? It starts from the what your diet is, what you intake, and what you consume on a daily basis. So wine will never be a health drink, but it can be more sustainable by using organic grapes that do not use certain pesticides and herbicides and adapting more to the local environment. And because Gen Z loves Instagram and traveling, there's an opportunity to grow wine tourism, as many vineyards are beautiful places with lovely towns nearby and make explicit the difference between wine and other alcoholic substitutes. Canned cocktails are sugar laden and do not age well, and you do not see 40-year-olds chugging cocktails that can be purchased at the gas station. I think that's a really good point that I've read in these articles. And certain wines barely have more alcohol than hard seltzers and are not mass produced. In other words, there is a story about every wine, especially ones produced by small growers. I just want to add in that I personally see a bottle like when I go to someone's house, I see they have a wine cellar. I kind of see it like they're investing in wine. Like it's some kind of like an investment. It's gonna age very well over time, and that like when you like pantry load, as we said, buy all these wines as like the older generation. That's like the collection. Like some people collect baseball cards, some people collect action figures, but a lot of the like baby boomers collect wines and they have a lot of wine. I see it with my dad. My dad collects a lot of wines. But as I see it with the 20s and 30-year-olds, they do not care about that. They just care about going out on a chill night, having a hard seltzer and having a beer. They don't even look towards wine at all. And it's really hurting this industry and it's killing profits and it's a big problem. But especially with these alcoholic substitutes you gotta try to make a difference. You gotta try to like, I don't know, like you can, like I said, canned cocktails have a lot of sugar and they do not age well. Um, Many people look at seltzers, many people look at beers. Like as I mentioned, you just gotta try to find a way to kind of outwork these other substitutes. So, and here's kind of like if I'm a wine company, I would try to post pictures like these because I want people to come. Like, imagine going out on a Saturday and going spending time at a winery. You can take a beautiful picture, post it on social media, how big social media is. It's a great way to attract them to your winery, get them to, oh, while they're there taking pictures, oh, you want to try this wine? Maybe they'll buy that wine. It's just all about the marketing scheme that you want to try to sell wine as best as you can And I feel like a picture like this is beautiful and it's a great example of how to get people to come out to your winery. So in conclusion, some key takeaways are like firms in a market like wine must adapt to survive. What worked in the 1980s or even the 2010s don't work now. And wine firms must show that wine consumption is about more than getting blasted with the bros or the girlies. It is a unique experience that shows style and education and can even help one's career. And wineries must go beyond red or white. Instead show the amazing diversity of wines that even people concerned about health can enjoy. Like that is a good point. That I make here is that whenever you go, they're like, "Oh, would you like red or white wine?" There's only two options. You have to try to expand out of your comfort zone and get more unique with your wines. And I feel like that is a it just kind of shows what I was just talking about the whole presentation. You just really have to find a way to make money, especially with your business. As I mentioned, down 10%. It's just these wineries are collapsing, they're falling apart, and you gotta find a way to improvise. And these are just kind of like my articles I used. But other than that, that's pretty much it. And I just wanted to stress again enough how important the the wine industry is and how much it's fallen apart and like I said it's gonna boom but right now it's mainly busting and it's been like that for a long time and thanks for listening.